Have you ever felt like your own mind is no longer yours? Like you're awake inside a system that constantly hijacks your thoughts, replacing silence with noise, attention with distraction, and presence with speed? You scroll, you react, you jump from one thought to another, not because you choose to, but because something invisible is choosing for you. And slowly, without noticing, you stop being the operator of your reality and become one of its programs. The modern world calls this normal, but in Hermetic language, it is the first fall of consciousness. When the mind forgets, it is the console of creation and starts believing it's the screen. Imagine your mind as a console. Every thought you think is a command, every emotion, a code line, every belief, a hidden algorithm shaping the way reality renders itself before your eyes. You think you're observing the world, but the truth is, the world is observing your mind. Every color, every situation, every coincidence is the projection of that console, a reflection of what is being coded within. The external is not external. It is your inner software, displayed in 3D. That's the first secret of the Hermetic Law of Mentalism. The universe is not outside of you, it is you, seen from the outside. You've been taught that reality is objective, stable, fixed. But have you noticed how it bends according to your state of mind? When you are anxious, everything seems accelerated. When you are calm, everything flows. When you are in love, even light seems warmer. When you are afraid, even silence becomes noise. This is not coincidence, it's code. Your vibration defines the architecture of the moment you live in, and if the mind is the console of reality, then every distorted thought is a glitch, every unconscious pattern, a virus, every emotion left unobserved, a program looping endlessly in the background. The Hermetic masters knew this long before modern psychology or quantum theory existed. They said, the all is mind, the universe is mental, not as poetry, but as operating system. They understood that reality does not happen to you. It happens through you. The observer is not separate from the observed. They are two sides of one mirror. This is why your world changes every time your perception changes. Because perception is not interpretation, it is creation. You don't see reality as it is, you see it as you are. Pause for a moment. Notice the movement of your thoughts right now. Who is observing them, and who decides which one stays, which one fades? That silent witness within you, that's not the thought. That is the operator, the alchemist behind the console. But in a world built to keep you distracted, that witness is constantly lulled to sleep, because when the operator sleeps, the system wins. Your energy becomes fuel for the matrix, the invisible machinery of collective illusion. The more distracted you are, the more predictable you become, and predictability is control. This is how the invisible mechanism rules the modern mind, not through chains, but through attention. Attention is the new currency, and where your attention goes, your energy follows. You wake up, and the noise begins. Before you even open your eyes, the world is already speaking inside your head. Notifications, thoughts, memories, fears, all demanding to be the first voice you hear. And yet, none of them are truly yours. Every vibration you receive in the morning programs the tone of your entire day. Every piece of information becomes a seed in the soil of your subconscious. The algorithm knows this, because it feeds not on your time, but on your attention. You believe you are thinking freely, but in truth your mind is being thought by something else. The modern mind has become a battlefield, invisible, psychological, silent, no bombs, no blood, only data. Streams of symbols and words shaping the inner landscape of perception. You scroll through endless information, but the more you consume, the emptier you feel, because clarity cannot exist where there is no silence. And silence is the one thing the world now fears. You have been conditioned to associate silence with emptiness, but the ancients knew silence is structure. It is the field where thought becomes form. When silence dies, meaning dies with it. And that is the hidden cost of our age, a humanity that thinks incessantly, but no longer knows how to think. Look at what happens when you try to be still. The body twitches, The mind screams, unfinished conversations resurface, voices whisper your to-do list, your failures, your regrets. That restlessness is not weakness, it is exposure. You are finally hearing the noise that has always been there. We live in an age where thinking has replaced awareness, and awareness is the lost art of the modern alchemist. Because awareness, not thought, is what commands reality. Thought is a tool. Awareness is the operator, but you have been taught to identify with the tool, to think you are your thoughts, and that single mistake has enslaved an entire civilization. The invisible predator of this era is not outside of you. It lives in your attention span, fragmented, overstimulated, exhausted. The predator feeds on reaction. It survives in the milliseconds between stimulus and response. Every time you react without awareness, the predator grows stronger. Every time you pause and observe, it weakens, because it cannot survive in the light of attention. This is the secret every initiate had to face. The real enemy is not the darkness. It is unconsciousness, and the only weapon against it is presence. Carl Jung called this possession by the complex, a fragment of psyche that hijacks your energy and pretends to be you. It speaks in your voice, feels with your emotions, acts through your hands, and the more you resist it, the more it adapts, because the mind, when left unobserved, becomes its own labyrinth. You can spend years walking through corridors of thought, searching for an exit that does not exist, until you remember that the labyrinth itself is inside your head. Every moment of unconscious scrolling, every reaction, every emotional loop creates an imprint, a vibration that shapes your energetic field. Your mind is not a passenger, it's an engine, and right now, that engine is burning fuel without a driver. But this realization, painful as it is sacred, because the Hermetic path always begins with confrontation. Before the alchemist can command the elements, he must witness the chaos within his own vessel. This chaos you feel is not proof of failure, it is proof of awakening. The noise is not your enemy. It is the first sign that the system is revealing itself. The predator hides in your attention. The noise you hear is not distraction. It's the echo of unobserved thought. The labyrinth is not outside. It is within. If the mind has become the battlefield, what if the war was never against the world but against forgetting who commands it? Because the Hermetic masters didn't escape the mind. They operated it. They discovered the law that governs the invisible. And once you understand that law, you no longer fear the chaos. You use it. That is where the law of mentalism begins to reveal its code. Everything you've been taught begins with matter, objects, circumstances, facts. You were told that the external world comes first, and the mind merely reacts to it. But that is the greatest illusion of all, because before every movement of the universe, there is thought. Before every creation, there is intention. Before every world, there is a mind. The ancient Hermetic axiom states, the all is mind. The universe is mental, not metaphor, not myth. Law, as real as gravity, yet infinitely more powerful, because gravity pulls matter, and mentalism shapes reality itself. What does this mean? It means that every atom, every star, every human experience exists first as a pattern of thought in the infinite field of consciousness. What we call reality is simply the condensation of thought into form. Matter is frozen mind. Your world is your mental reflection crystallized into vibration. So when you suffer, it's not the world attacking you. It's your own thought form looping back, asking to be rewritten. When you feel lost, it's not chaos. It's feedback from the console, signaling that your code is running in conflict. The Hermetic masters understood that the mind is not inside the body. The body is inside the mind. You exist within a mental field, a living hologram responding to every signal of your inner frequency. This is why every transformation begins inward. To change the world, you must first alter the vibration that projects it. To alter vibration, you must shift perception. To shift perception, you must awaken the operator, the consciousness observing thought. Everything else is secondary. The modern seeker wants manifestation without mastery. He wants results without alignment. He chants affirmations while his inner dialogue screams contradiction. He wants to program the code, but never looks at the console. That's why nothing changes. Because the law of mentalism does not respond to words, it responds to vibration. And vibration is not what you say. It's what you believe, what you feel, what you know is true in silence. The ancients didn't just study the mind, they trained it. They practiced stillness until thought obeyed. They cultivated attention as the highest currency. They didn't escape the matrix and they read its code. To them, every moment of chaos was a portal. Every emotion, a message. Every mirror, a teacher. They understood that to master the world, you must first master the mind, because the world is the mind. Seen from the outside. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine your thoughts as symbols floating across a screen. Each one emits a frequency. Each frequency attracts a version of reality into form. Now, imagine choosing which ones to amplify, which ones to silence, which ones to reprogram. That simple act of awareness is the first ritual of mentalism, the point where the unconscious reactor becomes a conscious creator. This is not mysticism. This is architecture. The law of mentalism teaches that nothing exists independently. The observer and the observed are reflections of one substance, the mind of the all. When you align your mental state with the highest vibration you can conceive, clarity, truth, coherence, the universe harmonizes to that frequency. You stop reacting to reality. Reality begins to respond to you. Modern science is only beginning to rediscover this truth. Quantum physics whispers it. The observer changes the observed. Neuroscience confirms it. The brain rewires itself according to attention. But the Hermeticists lived it. They knew that attention is the seed of manifestation, that every focused thought is a vector of creation, that what you hold in mind, you hold in being. So now listen carefully. Every time you think, you're not just reacting, you're coding. Every time you feel, you're programming the vibration of your field. Every time you speak, you're casting a frequency into the hologram of existence. This is not metaphor. This is law. And once you understand the law, the chaos starts to make sense. You've learned that the mind commands reality, but command without structure leads to chaos. If the console is yours again, how do you operate it consciously? How do you reprogram the code without falling into illusion? That's what the next revelation will show. The precise way to rewrite your inner commands, to transform thought into architecture. If you're still here, it's because this truth is yours. Subscribe. Stay in the field where the next code will be revealed. Everything you've been taught begins with matter, objects, circumstances, facts. You were told that the external world comes first and the mind merely reacts to it. But that is the greatest illusion of all, because before every movement of the universe, there is thought. Before every creation, there is intention. Before every world, there is a mind. The ancient Hermetic axiom states, the all is mind. The universe is mental, not metaphor, not myth, law, as real as gravity, yet infinitely more powerful, because gravity pulls matter, and mentalism shapes reality itself. What does this mean? It means that every atom, every star, every human experience exists first as a pattern of thought in the infinite field of consciousness. What we call reality is simply the condensation of thought into form. Matter is frozen mind. Your world is your mental reflection crystallized into vibration. So when you suffer, it's not the world attacking you. It's your own thought form looping back, asking to be rewritten. When you feel lost, it's not chaos. It's feedback from the console, signaling that your code is running in conflict. The Hermetic masters understood that the mind is not inside the body. The body is inside the mind. You exist within a mental field, a living hologram responding to every signal of your inner frequency. This is why every transformation begins inward. To change the world, you must first alter the vibration that projects it. To alter vibration, you must shift perception. To shift perception, you must awaken the operator, the consciousness observing thought. Everything else is secondary. The modern seeker wants manifestation without mastery. He wants results without alignment. He chants affirmations while his inner dialogue screams contradiction. He wants to program the code, but never looks at the console. That's why nothing changes. Because the law of mentalism does not respond to words. It responds to vibration. And vibration is not what you say. It's what you believe, what you feel, what you know is true in silence. The ancients didn't just study the mind, they trained it. They practiced stillness until thought obeyed. They cultivated attention as the highest currency. They didn't escape the matrix and they read its code. To them, every moment of chaos was a portal. Every emotion, a message. Every mirror, a teacher. They understood that to master the world, you must first master the mind, because the world is the mind. Seen from the outside, close your eyes for a moment. Imagine your thoughts as symbols floating across a screen. Each one emits a frequency. Each frequency attracts a version of reality into form. Now, imagine choosing which ones to amplify, which ones to silence, which ones to reprogram. That simple act of awareness is the first ritual of mentalism, the point where the unconscious reactor becomes a conscious creator. This is not mysticism. This is architecture. The law of mentalism teaches that nothing exists independently. The observer and the observed are reflections of one substance, the mind of the all. When you align your mental state with the highest vibration you can conceive, clarity, truth, coherence, the universe harmonizes to that frequency. You stop reacting to reality. Reality begins to respond to you. Modern science is only beginning to rediscover this truth. Quantum physics whispers it. The observer changes the observed. Neuroscience confirms it. The brain rewires itself according to attention. But the Hermeticists lived it. They knew that attention is the seed of manifestation, that every focused thought is a vector of creation, that what you hold in mind, you hold in being. So now listen carefully. Every time you think, you're not just reacting, you're coding. Every time you feel, you're programming the vibration of your field. Every time you speak, you're casting a frequency into the hologram of existence. This is not metaphor. This is law. And once you understand the law, the chaos starts to make sense. You've learned that the mind commands reality, but command without structure leads to chaos. If the console is yours again, how do you operate it consciously? How do you reprogram the code without falling into illusion? That's what the next revelation will show. The precise way to rewrite your inner commands, to transform thought into architecture. Now that you've seen the structure, it's time to enter the laboratory. Because understanding the law of mentalism is not enough. It must be operated. The Hermetic path begins the moment knowledge becomes architecture, and architecture becomes discipline of consciousness. You are about to reprogram the console, but the first command is not change. The first command is observe. The untrained mind wants to force the code, to bend reality with intensity, emotion, or willpower. But the Hermetic masters knew the console doesn't respond to force, it responds to coherence. Coherence is not control, it's alignment. It's the moment when your thoughts, emotions, and actions vibrate as one sound, when there is no inner conflict between what you say and what you believe. Incoherence creates interference. Interference creates distortion. Distortion projects as chaos. That is why your reality flickers between moments of clarity and confusion. It's not fate, it's frequency drift. So how do you reprogram your mind? Not by adding more commands, but by silencing the noise between them. Observation is the master key. Observation is not passive, it's active awareness. The conscious act of witnessing thought without attachment. Every time you observe without reacting, a fragment of chaos dissolves. You weaken the illusion that your thoughts control you. In Hermetic language, this is the first operation of the alchemist. Solve the dissolution. You separate the pure from the impure, the essential from the reactive, the truth from the distortion. Let's apply it. When a negative thought appears going, I can't, I failed, I'm not enough, don't fight it, don't analyze it. Simply observe it, as if watching code appear on a terminal screen, and then ask, who is seeing this? That question disarms the illusion. It reawakens the operator, because only awareness can watch the code. The code cannot watch itself. Once observation becomes stable, the second operation begins. Intention. Intention is not wishing, it's calibration. It's setting a frequency. Like tuning an instrument, every hermetic ritual, every prayer, every manifestation technique is simply a method of aligning vibration with purpose. When intention is clear, the code reorganizes. The field obeys the operator. That is why you must speak to your mind like an engineer, not a victim. You give commands from clarity, not from chaos. You program with precision, not desperation. Practical reprogramming ritual. 3 minutes. Silence. Close your eyes and breathe slowly. Observe every thought without following it. Let the noise dissolve until only awareness remains. Calibration. Ask internally, what vibration do I choose to emit now? Don't search for words. Feel the tone. Peace. Focus. Presence. Choose one. Command. Whisper silently. My mind is the console. I program with clarity. I project with truth. Visualize your thoughts as lines of code aligning into geometric patterns. The chaos becomes order. The light stabilizes. The code obeys. Repeat this ritual daily. Each repetition rewires the field. Each act of observation reclaims a fragment of power. Hermeticism is not belief, it's practice. The universe is not waiting for you to ask. It's waiting for you to align. The reason your affirmations often fail is because the subconscious reads vibration, not vocabulary. You cannot lie to the field. It vibrates with your truth, not your mask. So the moment your inner frequency becomes congruent, reality has no choice but to mirror it, because reflection is law. This is why true power feels like peace, not force. It's not about shouting intentions into the void. It's about becoming so coherent that the void speaks your name back. You don't manifest through struggle. You manifest through stillness, because stillness is the language of creation. You have observed. You have begun to command. Now the question is, what happens when the world begins to mirror your new code? Because the external will not remain silent. It will respond, and that response will test your vibration. That's when the mirror principle begins to reveal itself. Every creator must face the mirror, because once you start altering the code within, the universe begins to rearrange itself without. What appears next in your life, the people, the emotions, the coincidences, is not random. It is feedback. The mirror reflecting the vibration you now emit. The Hermetic masters called this the principle of correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. But here, above does not mean heaven. It means mind. And below does not mean earth. It means manifestation. Every reality you experience is the reflection of a mental state. The mirror does not create the image. It only reveals it. The universe is that mirror. So when you look around and see confusion, conflict, stagnation, the question is not, why is this happening to me? But what vibration within me is being shown right now? This is where the path divides the reactive from the conscious. The reactive one curses the mirror. He breaks it in anger, thinking it will change the reflection. But the Hermeticist knows, breaking the mirror only multiplies the fragments of the same image. The only way to change the reflection is to change what stands before it. You. The mirror is merciless, yet merciful. It shows not what you want, but what you are. Not what you declare, but what you believe. Not your desires, but your frequencies. You may say, I am at peace, but the universe listens to your vibration and replies, no, you are still vibrating in fear. That reply is not punishment, it's information. A diagnostic from the cosmic system. If the field reflects chaos, it means your console still runs interference. If it reflects stillness, the code has stabilized. Simple, exact, hermetic. Now watch this happen in real life. You begin practicing observation, and suddenly, conflicts surface. Old wounds reappear. The same situations loop back. You think, I'm regressing, but no. You're just seeing the residue, the echoes of old vibrations dissolving. The mirror is cleaning itself. Every projection returns for review, because the field can only update once you face the previous version of your code. That's why every spiritual awakening first feels like collapse, because the old reflection is dying, and death always looks like disorder from the inside of the mirror. So, don't run when the reflection darkens. Look deeper. That darkness is your unobserved light waiting to be integrated. Every trigger is a mirror in disguise. Every pain is an old vibration asking to be rewritten. That is the real alchemy. Not turning lead into gold, but ignorance into awareness. Tonight, when you stand before a mirror, do not look at your face. Look at your eyes. Ask silently, what vibration are you projecting into the field? Observe without judgment. Breathe. Feel the subtle shift when awareness returns. That silence you sense. That's alignment. Because the true mirror is not the glass. It's the mind looking through it. When you live by this understanding, you stop fighting circumstances. You start reading them. You realize that reality is a dialogue. Every event is the field speaking your own language back to you. And once you read the message, the pattern dissolves. That's how the conscious operator moves through life. Not as victim, not as controller, but as observer architect. But even as the mirror reveals the code, a new challenge arises. How to maintain coherence when the external world still vibrates in chaos. Because mirrors surround you, and their distortions will test your stability. The next operation is about stability. The art of holding your frequency when everything around you wavers. This is the passage from noise to order. Chaos is easy. It requires no effort to fragment. But order, true mental order, is an act of power. Because order is not imposed, it is emanated. The Hermeticist does not force the world into shape. He becomes the shape the world aligns to. You've begun to reclaim the console. You've learned to observe, to intend, to read the mirror. Now comes the final test. Can you remain coherent while the external collapses? Because it will. Once you alter your vibration, the old architecture of your life starts to tremble. Relationships shift. Jobs dissolve, people fade. You think you're losing control, but you're only watching outdated code decompile. Don't resist it. Refinement always feels like destruction before it feels like alignment. The Hermetic Law is precise. Everything vibrates, and vibration seeks coherence. When you stabilize your inner frequency, the field begins to reorganize itself around you. This is not magic, it's resonance. That is why silence is not weakness, it's command. Stillness is not stagnation, it's recalibration. Every time you pause before reacting, you broadcast a new pattern into the collective field. The noise outside cannot survive long near someone who vibrates from clarity, because clarity is contagious. It's not loud, but it penetrates. It's not dominant, but it reorganizes. That's the hidden mechanism of order. The coherent mind rewrites the collective code simply by existing. Now listen, you don't need to control everything. You only need to contain yourself. Containment is mastery. Containment is not repression. It's retention of force. Every emotion observed but not leaked becomes potential energy. Every silence held consciously becomes magnetic field. When you learn to stay in your center while chaos swirls around, you stop being part of the storm. You become its eye, calm, aware, commanding. This is what the ancients meant when they spoke of the philosopher's stone. It wasn't a rock, it was the mind stabilized. A consciousness so coherent that reality could no longer distort it. That's why it was said to turn lead into gold, because everything it touched reorganized into purity. You are that stone in formation. Every moment you choose stillness over reaction, you polish another facet of your awareness. The alchemist's laboratory was never made of glass and fire. It was built from silence and attention. Whenever chaos arises, a conflict, a fear, a sudden wave of anxiety, stop. Don't analyze. Don't run. Inhale deeply and inwardly speak. I am the center of the field. Exhale. Feel gravity return. Notice how thoughts lose velocity when faced with presence. This is how the field reorganizes, not through effort, but through frequency. Do this enough times and the noise no longer enters. You'll hear it, but it won't command you. You'll see the world moving fast, and you'll remain still. That's order, not control. Coherence. Order is not the end of chaos. It's chaos mastered. The same energy but structured through awareness. That's the final Hermetic revelation. Nothing is ever destroyed. It is only reorganized by consciousness. So, when life trembles, don't panic. It's just your field restructuring to match your new vibration. The code is realigning. You've dissolved. You've observed. You've reprogrammed. You've stabilized. Now something new emerges. The operator reborn. The consciousness that no longer reacts, but creates an awareness. The next step is not a conclusion. It's ascension. Because the one who understands mentalism doesn't just think differently, he becomes the very pattern that governs reality. That's where this journey leads, from the fragmented self to the conscious architect of vibration. Bloco 7, the rebirth of the operator, fechamento iniciático, o despertar da consciência criadora, silence. That's where it all begins, and where it all returns. After all the storms, the dissolutions, the mirrors, and the chaos, you find yourself here, not as the thinker trapped in thought, but as the operator, the one who sees, the one who commands, the one who is. You have crossed the veil, and the veil was never out there. It was your own mind, forgotten beneath layers of noise, distraction, and fear. Now you can see every thought as code, every emotion as current, every choice as geometry, and suddenly, life becomes readable again. You realize the universe was never against you. It was simply mirroring the frequency you were broadcasting. You were never lost. You were out of tune. And the moment you remembered the law of mentalism, the signal returned to coherence. The Hermetic masters didn't seek power over others. They sought power within. They knew that to control the mind was to command the cosmos, that to align perception was to align creation, because in truth, there is no separation between the two. When you think with clarity, you sculpt the invisible. When you feel with coherence, you breathe structure into vibration. And when you live in awareness, you become the bridge between spirit and matter, the living temple of the all. You are not your thoughts. You are the space that holds them. You are not the reflection. You are the mirror itself. You are not the code. You are the consciousness that writes it and rewrites it endlessly. And this realization is rebirth, the death of illusion, the resurrection of awareness, the moment you stop chasing control and begin emanating order. So now, when the world reacts to your silence, when people ask why you've changed, when old versions of you knock at the door, remember this: the operator does not explain, he emanates. His life becomes the teaching, his stillness, the message, his coherence, the revolution, because the world doesn't need more opinions. It needs more frequency, stable, silent, awake. This is what it means to walk the Hermetic path in the modern age, not to escape the system, but to master the console within it, to move through illusion with lucidity, to see the code and write consciously. The true initiation was never about temples or symbols. It was about mental structure, about remembering that the first temple is your own mind, and that every moment of awareness polishes the stone of your being. You are the philosopher's stone in human form, the transmutation of chaos into coherence, the alchemist who creates worlds through consciousness. The mind was never your prison, it was your forge. You are not in the universe is in you. The world doesn't change when you awaken. You do, and the world follows. To think clearly is to create divinely. Hold that frequency for one breath longer than is comfortable. That moment, the slight resistance, is your transformation. It's the crossing point between intention and embodiment. When you open your eyes, the world will seem unchanged, but it's already responding, because the field obeys clarity, and clarity is what you now are. You've crossed the first portal, the law that governs all others. But this is only the beginning, because the moment you command the mind, you awaken the deeper forces moving beneath it. Polarity, vibration, cause, correspondence, and these are not concepts. They are the next layers of power, the next steps in your Hermetic initiation. You've crossed this portal. The next one is already open. If this truth resonated in you, write below, "I am the operator," because awareness is not learned, it is remembered. Subscribe and continue the path. The next video is not another. It is the next octave of this same awakening.